Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. Welcome to the Debrief, where we take a deep dive into Liverpool 3, Aston Villa 0. We'll have a look at it tactically. We'll have a look at the slides of where we went wrong. We'll have a look at the numbers. But before we start, we've got a bit of positive news to start with anyway. I've been kindly sent some items from Pitch Paper off Etsy. You can go on their site and have a look at what they've got available for sale. I am sporting their Iniesta t-shirt. I wish he did play like Iniesta yesterday anyway, but we've got that. We've got a mug that's on their store as well. And then we've also got some prints. We've got a Witten train station print, and we've got one of their sort of Adidas Vibe trainer print as well. So some really cool stuff. Thank you to the guys at Pitch Paper for sending me them. And I'll put the link in the description to this video and you can have a look and order your own as well. So let's get in there then. The debrief. Villa 3-0 against Liverpool. Where do we start? So my thoughts having a little bit more reflection of that of frustration, disappointment. I think disappointment would be my overriding thought from the game against Liverpool. I think that was possibly below our standards, below what Unai Emery expects. And I think as fans, we can always get frustrated when we lose any game of football. Like, we support the club, we get frustrated, we get angry, we get annoyed, and all these things. So I think the response after that game is fair because it wasn't a good enough performance. And my overriding thought process is as a fan, I'm not looking for a performance that I've never seen before. I'm not looking at Aston Villa thinking we're trying to be something that we're not. When I look at Aston Villa and how we play, and when I do the match previews and the predicted lineups and the tactical looks and how we're going to play and what I think of our players, I'm not making stuff up. I've seen us play in a style under Unai Emery. I've seen us go to tough away places like Brighton, like Chelsea, like Spurs, and come away with the points. Southampton away. And yes, some of them aren't the easiest teams to play against, but then some of them are teams that you'd look at and think we should be beating them on paper. But you can see a level of performance. And I think for a couple of the games that we've played so far, Newcastle away and Liverpool away, that was well below something that we've seen before. You know, what I expect from this Villa side at the minute is a togetherness, a tactical approach that's comfortable. It's an approach that we can do, but also making it very, very difficult for the opposition to play through us. Whether we've got the ball, you know, is a different story. But when we haven't got the ball and we need to dig in and we need to be resolute and we need to just keep it tight for 15, 20 minutes, we need to play a little bit ugly. We need to get stuck in. We need to, you know, do all of those types of things that are sort of part and parcel of an away day at a very difficult ground. So I just think we're lacking that slightly. We're lacking that bite. We're lacking that bit of aggression. But like I say, it's not something that I've not seen us do. So that's why I'm a little bit frustrated with those away games on how we've played, because I do want to see an evolution from last season. I do want to see us getting better. And I just think at the minute with those two games, it's been a bit off it. And it's not the best, is it? You know, so, and it's got to improve. It's got to improve, and I think you've just got to be honest and say, like, look, it has got. You can't play like that, and we've got to strive to be better than that. And defensively, we need more organisation. We need more leadership in the middle of there. And we just need to have a little bit more belief as well. Like, if we go 1-0 down in the first 5 minutes, don't chuck your game plan out the window. Just regroup and be strong and have that belief that we can score goals and we can get back in the game. But at the minute, it just sometimes feels like those two away games. It feels just a bit like people are just looking round, thinking, "I'm just not sure what's going on here." Like what, and everything looks a bit disjointed. And that's what I was saying in the match reaction about it. The defense didn't look great. The midfield didn't look great. The forward line didn't look great. It's not as if it's just one or two that are sort of not sort of bang at it. The collective performance, and I think every Villa fan that watched that Liverpool game can see that on that pitch it wasn't fluid. We weren't together. The shape wasn't right. The shape didn't look right. So yeah, you just got to be honest. You've just got to be honest. And I think Unai's just got to go back and work at it a little bit more. And it just needs to get a little bit better, in my opinion. I'm still not sure whether we've still got that sort of home form, away form. How do we play at home to away? Are we pushing the away a little bit too much, maybe against the top teams? Are we trying to be a little bit too expansive? Maybe we can do that against Burnley, etc. But maybe against Liverpool, we need to just hone in a little bit, be a little bit more resolute to start with, and then grow into it. So maybe that's something that we've got to really have a little bit more of a look at and a work at, really. But, I've still got massive, massive faith in Emery and everything that we're doing. But you've got to just say what you see, and you can't just try and be too positive and paper over a bad performance because you think we can't criticize or we can't say that something's not good when it's, so I think we've just got to figure out what we're trying to do away from home and compact it and bring it all together. Because like I say, we've seen before we can do it. We've seen it. That's all we want. We just want what we've seen before. So we've just got to figure out where we are and what we're doing. So I am going to have a look now at some of the stats from the game against Liverpool. Then we'll have a little look at some of the goals, some of the goals that we conceded, and then we'll have a little look at the shape in general as well. So I'll share the screen with you now. So let's share that. Right, let's get into it then. So we'll go with this first. So as you can see, the momentum bar from this game, Liverpool are at the top, Villa are at the bottom. And tailor the game, wasn't it? We was under pressure for majority of the first half, and then the second half we sort of had that little bit of a spell, and then they just grew into it completely towards the end of that second half. So again, you can see from this graphic that the momentum bar of the whole game does kind of paint a picture as well. We had a possession of 36%. They had 64. They had 17 shots, 4 on target, 10 off target. We had 9 shots, 3 on target and 6 off target. You can see here that this is the XG shot map. Liverpool are in the red, Villa are in the blue. And the match dominance by expected threat. So Liverpool are at the top, Villa are at the bottom. So you could see that spike there at the start. That's when we conceded and we started to grow into a little bit. And then Liverpool sort of took over and was more dominant than us. And then this is the XG by the minute. The stars show the goals. And then all of the others are shots as well. So this was how Villa lined up, pretty much as I called in the predicted lineup. And as you can see, this is our average positions from this game. It's tainted a little bit because we've got Carlos who went off, so his stats are still on there. And then you're missing sort of a Leon Bailey out wide and Zaniolo as well. So deep, not too high. You can see that back lines definitely wasn't positioned really high throughout the game. But for me, there was just a complete lack of cohesion between the defence, the midfield, and the strikers. And this was Aston Villa's passing network. So our biggest passing range was between Luiz and Kamara. You can see that that's the darker line. So those two were getting on the ball quite a lot. Torres to Konsa as well. But we just weren't able to get Kamara to a McGinn or Kamara to a Watkins. And it was just falling short. And you can see there's a bit of a void out wide where Bailey is as well and where Cash was, because I think it must just be that because they were substituting and playing different positions that it just looks a bit off it really. But Bailey wasn't really too much involved, was it? He had that little bit of a link-up move with Diaby, but other than that, it wasn't that great from any of them really. I mean, Diaby was the brightest light for Villa, wasn't he? I think again you can see that he's a player, but it's just there just wasn't much else in and around it really. This was Liverpool's average position, so you can see that you've got Trent coming inside centrally a little bit. You've got McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Jones offering that three in the middle, and that three in the middle just absolutely ran that whole midfield along with Trent, and we just couldn't really get to grips with it at all. This was their starting lineup, and this was their passing network. So you can see that they've got that sort of structure with McAllister, Jones, and Szoboszlai. Trent Alexander just doing the normal things that he normally does. So yeah, that was their passing network. I've got some individual sort of attributes to show you. We've got Pau Torres' accurate passes was at 72%. Normally he's in and around the 90 mark for the majority of the games that he's played for Villa. And you've got John McGinn in central midfield at 65% passing accuracy as well. So as you can see, we're turning over the ball, we're losing the ball quite a lot, and yeah, we're just not keeping hold of the ball, were we? So if we go now and have a look at some of the let's go to, what should we go to? Let's go to this actually. So as you can see, this is going to now be the first goal, and we'd conceded the corner from Pau Torres trying to take on Mo Salah in our own box. And yes, it was a mistake, but we know that's what we want to do. We want to play out from the back, and I imagine it's part of his game. So to say we're never probably ever going to see him do that again, we'll probably see him do that in 2 weeks' time, and he'll take a player on, and we'll all be off our feet applauding him. So I wasn't, I was annoyed that we lost the ball and we conceded a corner, but to pin all the blame on Pau Torres, I think would be, we've still got to defend this corner. It's not in essence Pau Torres' fault that we've conceded this goal from this corner, because here is, and I've spoke about this, and regular viewers of this channel will know that I have mentioned before, Ollie Watkins, you can see Ollie Watkins here, there, is the first contact on set pieces for Aston Villa. And what we'd normally have in and around this melee of players will be the next contact. So if Watkins didn't win this ball and it went into that mix there, Tyrone Mings would be the next player who is free. Mings never marked a player off set pieces and corners. He would be the one that heads it away. Now, what we've done here is we've lost the ball at the front post. Matty Cash has missed this header. So if this header was headed clear from Matty Cash, we wouldn't have had any problems to start with. Now, the fact that this header at this front post was missed and it went to Szoboszlai on the edge of the box in acres and acres of space, that's part of the problem. The first header wasn't won off this corner, and we, Adam, that header has to be won and has to be cleared. And as we can see from the next graphic, we are slowest to react. I mean, we've got two players, Kamara and I think that's Luca Dean, who are, well, might be Cash, who are coming to close the ball down. And, you know, he probably could have had a touch and he just bangs it into the far corner. So the acre of space that's in this area here, that he can just run onto that and eat that, you know, it's not great defending from that corner. Not great defending. And the fact that it's in the 3rd minute, so you just, you know, you don't want to be 1-0 down at Anfield after the 3rd minute off a corner. This, for me, was the worst goal to concede. This, I really didn't like this goal to concede for a number of reasons. Number one, it actually looks like he's taking a free kick. It actually looks like he's just put that ball down and just thought, you know what, I'll just take all the time in the world and I'll hit this wherever I want. 1, 2 players should be engaging and pressing him on the ball, especially who that is. If you give Trent time to pick his pass, it's absolute suicide. So as he does, he plays a beautiful ball lofted over the top. Now, if you look at our line here now, so where that line is, I wouldn't say that line is that high to me. I wouldn't say that's a high line to me is probably where they are. That's an okay line to me. But the problem is there's 4 of them in that line with our players. You've got Salah, who's going down there, and you've got Nunes, who's going down there. Luca Dean is already on the run. So Luca Dean knows what direction he's going in. And Pau Torres is stepping more that way. So part of this problem is that this ball's just been lofted over the top. And now look how much space and time he's got to put that ball in. And we've got 1 Liverpool player, 2 Liverpool players, 3 Liverpool players, 4 Liverpool players, all going to bust the gut to get in that area, to get in behind our defence. Pau Torres is stepping out in the wrong direction. And by the end of it, so by the end of this move, we've got Pau Torres trying to recover, Luca Dean's trying to recover, but then we've got Nunes, who was Pau Torres' man here. So that's where we are at the start of the move. And this is where we are at the end of the move. That should not be happening. He's got all the time in the world to take this shot, and we've lost our man, and we're at 6s and 7s at the back. And it's poor defending. It's really poor defending for this goal, and just not good enough. But that's part of the problem, that we were switching off, and collectively, it's just not good enough. You know, first of all, somebody should be on him. Literally, as soon as he gets the ball, boom, someone's into him. Someone should be into him. But the fact that nobody is to start with allows him to ping this ball over the top. And then collectively, what I was saying about the midfield and the defence, not good enough. Not good enough at all. So at 2-0, Liverpool then have a free kick. And we've got Matip, who is unmarked, free header, and it should be 3, and he misses it. So again, collectively, defensively, who's marking him? It's all over the place. We then start to have a little bit of joy towards the end of the second half, and this was a bright move from Watkins, Diaby, and McGinn. We had a 2v2, and I was praying that he could have just gone into that area but it felt like to me that the ball was just getting away from him a little bit. So he plays that pass into McGinn, and McGinn fires it over. But that was one of the bright chances that we had in the first half. Second half, again, another ball over the top. And if you have a look at the shape of our defence, it's scramble. It's scrambling. We are scrambling to get this ball back from Salah. And we're just at 6s and 7s. You know, the defensive structure there was just not there. We were just scrambling around. And then finally, again, the third goal, the goal that does us in the end, we've got a glancing header, and then we've got a runner and a goal at that back post. So, you know, again, there's a Liverpool player that's got a run on one of our players. So we are completely the wrong side. We've not got to that first header in the first place. It's glanced on at the back post and it's 3-0. So the defending of these corners needs to massively be improved on. We had a real bad day with these corners with Liverpool of not getting that first contact. First contact is absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial. And we've got no one in there at the minute that's winning that first contact. So those are the slides. Those are the observations that I've made from the goals. And then just tactically, we would just stretch this little midfield, the diamond that they play in the middle, and it just felt like when I was watching us that this is exactly what I was watching. You know, I was just watching the Villa defence completely sitting off the Liverpool defence. We were at times playing a little bit more narrow, so the defence was sort of narrow at times, and it was allowing Diaz to have that sort of space out wide. And I think that was one of our tactics that we tried to employ. We tried to be a little bit narrow and sort of allow him to have space, that when he does get the ball, that we can sort of do something like that. But you know, that was a slight problem. But I just think during the whole game, none of this midfield four, and then when Cash went back, and then, you know, he went off, and then we went with Bailey, could just not get a foothold on the game whatsoever. You know, you've got this man here just literally having the license of Anfield to do what he wants, and the press just wasn't as strong in this game. So, you know, really disappointed, but I, you know, want to try and figure out some positives in, and again, like I said, after we got smashed against Newcastle, the biggest positive I could give that game was that it didn't feel like an Unai Emery team out there. And I still would say similar type of things after this game. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why we played like that. Because, well, to be fair, I'd probably say we conceded in the first 3 minutes. That's probably got a big problem to do with it, because you've been working on a game plan all week. You haven't been working on a game plan all week being 1-0 down after 3 minutes. So that's probably got something to do with it. But I think we just need to be a little bit nasty, have a little bit more aggression in our game. I think that's probably something that I would pick up on. And just to have a bit more belief and a little bit more zip. You know, when I talk about McGinn-Esther, you know, when he's got his backside up against someone and he's in full McGinn mode, you know he's on it. But he wasn't really in the game that much, was he, McGinn? So again, that's another one. And yeah, I'm frustrated. Love to know what you guys think. Having seen a few more stats and the images that I've showed on the screen. And hopefully we are working tirelessly on the training ground the next week or two. I know after the game, Klopp was really complimentary of Villa and saying nice things. It's weird how they never say nice things when the opposition teams beat them. But, you know, he was saying how difficult we are to play against. But I think we made it a little bit too easy to play against us. So, yeah, I mean, 4 games in the Premier League so far, 2 wins, 2 losses. It's not the end of the world, but as a Villa fan, I want to see us better than that, and I think we are better than that. So that's why I've kind of got my frustrations. Like, I don't just ever be negative for the sake of being negative, and I don't think we're in a place where you can't criticize the team, or you can't criticize the manager or the things that he does, because I imagine this week he's probably criticizing the way we played and the players. He doesn't do it in public, but he's probably looking at that game plan thinking, where can we improve? What can we do? He spoke about bringing Zaniolo and Tielemans on because he wanted to see how they played in the last 20. So even he's now thinking, you know what, Zaniolo, Tielemans, they're in my thinking. Last 20, we weren't as bad as what we were in parts of that game. So I think criticism is always fair. It's always warranted because we expect more. Like, if you're happy watching that at Anfield losing 3-0, then I don't know. There's got to be something wrong, surely, because who wants to watch that? Because I don't. So yeah, criticism's fair, and I think as long as it's not sort of overboard, like going into them too much, I think it's only right to want and expect more from this season. Everybody predicted this season Aston Villa to pretty much get 6th place. So is playing like that going to get 6th place? Probably not. So yeah, frustrating. Got to move on though now. So we'll move on and we'll just put that one away now and just try and focus on the next game and be in Crystal Palace in sort of a week and a bit's time. So cheers everybody for watching. Thank you. Like this video, subscribe, go and check out Pitch Paper as well. They've got some really cool things. I'll put the link in the description. And up the Villa.